watching the Yes Network, the home of champions.
It is a Thursday matinee here at Yankee Stadium. The crowd filing in on a hot, hazy, and humid day. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the defending world champion New York Yankees against the Baltimore Orioles in the final game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees have won the first 2 games of this series. Yankee starters have been pitching very, very well. CC Sabathia gets the start in today's game, and he's got to step it up a little bit.
Well, he got off to a great start this season. CC looked like he was on his way to another banner year, and he still can be. Look what he did in his first 6 starts. 4-1, excellent ERA, 2.74, allowed only 3 home runs, opponents hitting just 212. But his last 5 outings have not been good. In fact, his last win came a month ago against the Baltimore Orioles. He's 0-2, 6.28, and has allowed 7 home runs, and the opponents are hitting much better against CC of late.
And he's got to keep up with the Joneses, Kenny, that's for sure, because his rotation mates last time through, they've been great. Burnett, 8 innings, 5 hits. Pettit, 7 innings, 4 hits. Vasquez, 7 innings, 4 hits. Hughes, 7 innings, 6 hits. All of them allowed just 1 earned run. So it's time for CC to step up. We told you it was hazy, hot, and humid. Well, only one of those adjectives applies to Robinson Cano. You know what it is. Hot, hot, hot. We'll talk about him next.
And he has unbelievable hand-eye coordination. And when he swings and strikes, he hits the ball hard. And when you hit the ball hard, good things happen.
That one's drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. Red hot Robbie Cano. 2-run home run. Can you be hotter than Robbie Cano? Well, with the humidity today at the Yankee Stadium, we're going to give it a shot about being hotter than Robbie Cano. That's Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. Robbie Cano, 16-game hitting streak, doing everything that you'd want to do as a hitter. And why is he doing this, and how's he doing it?
Well, actually, during the streak, he's gotten hotter than he was at the beginning of the streak. And Robinson Cano right now is hitting perfection, if you will. Pitchers make mistakes. He hits the ball hard. He uses the whole field. Hit line drives to left field. He can also take you deep if you make a mistake. His next home run will be a milestone for him. 100 in his career.
Take a look at the 16-game hitting streak, how it breaks down. 32 for 68, that's 471. 8 doubles, 3 home runs, 19 ribbies. He's had 8 straight multi-hit games. His teammates are marveling at him. Nick Swisher talks to our Kim Jones about that.
it's been a lot of fun to watch him. You know, he's been ultra consistent. He's putting himself in a great position to hit the baseball. It's really just kind of been a lot of fun for all of us to just watch what he's doing.
As a veteran, and I know he's a veteran now too in some respects, but do you look at him as a guy who's really emerging and becoming the hitter everyone thought he could be in addition to the defensive player?
Yeah, but I think he's already proven that he's been that hitter that everybody says he's going to be. You know, I think we're all just trying to keep pace with him. You know, it's been it's been special to watch. It's been a lot of fun, and you know, guys are looking at each other in the dugout now, saying, "Man, let's see how hard he hits this one," or something like that. But you know, he's on a roll right now, and nobody in this room is going to be messing with him because he's got to keep his routine and keep things going the way they are.
Minimum of 3 at-bats coming up in this game for Robbie Cano. Can't wait to see him. Lineups, first pitch, baseball coming up next right here on Yes. In the forecast for later on, today's starters, Kevin Millwood against CC Sabathia. Millwood looking for his first win. Sabathia 4-3 with a 4.16 ERA. That is our New York Lottery pitching matchup. Now let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup that's going to face CC Sabathia. It's brought to you by Lexus. Julio Lugo, the second baseman, leads off, batting second, and playing third, Miguel Tejada. Nick Markakis in right field will hit third. Cleaning up and DHing Ty Wigginton. Luke Scott's in left field, no bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing first base, Garrett Atkins. Adam Jones in center field will bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Craig Tatum. And Cesar Estouris, the shortstop, will bat ninth.
CC Sabathia on the mound. We'll tell you one set of numbers about him. He is 11-1 in his career against the Baltimore Orioles. That's pretty good. But here's our scouting report. He's been winless for exactly a month. His last win came on May the 3rd, and it was right here at Yankee Stadium against the Baltimore Orioles. 3 could be a charm. He's already beaten the Orioles twice this year. This could get him back on track with a victory again today, and he's been strong at the stadium this year. 2-0 here at Yankee Stadium for the season with a good ERA of 2.67.
Let's take a look at the defense behind him, and it's brought to you by Mercedes. Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. Infield, Rodriguez, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. That's third to first. Behind the plate is Francisco Cervelli. CC Sabathia is on the mound. Well, the Orioles really struggling. They are 15-38 on the season, and it just has not been good for them. They're 0-5 on this road trip that they're on, and they've scored a total of 5 runs. Julio Lugo digs in. CC Sabathia is ready. We're ready here in the broadcast booth, so let's do it. Lugo against Sabathia. Pitch is high, we're underway.
Lugo was not in the starting lineup in last night's ball game. He did come in as a defensive replacement, but he's hitting well against left-handed pitching this year.
High fly ball, right field. The Swisher. 1 out. Well, let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. It's 86 degrees, humidity 60%. The winds are 7 miles per hour out of the south, and there is a chance of thunderstorms. It was steamy on the field today as the Yankees were taking batting practice. Guys bathed their faces in sweat. It was very hot.
Kind of had that 4th of July feel too.
Well, that Baltimore feel too.
Oh, we're going there pretty soon, Michael. Yep. Get ready.
Pitches upstairs, 1-0.
Tide had a big night last night. He got 3 hits, 3 for 8 in this series, and you can see his average at 264. Hits the ball well to the opposite field. The Yankees play him straight away.
And a strike. Look at the numbers against Sabathia. 13 for 38. That's 342, and 2 of the 13 out of the park. Over 100 at bats, though. Tejada really struggling. Just 21 hits. That's 210. Slow roller toward third. A-Rod charges, fields, and they get Tejada for the second out. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes. Sabathia has not allowed a run in the first inning in his last 7 starts. And he's 1 out away from doing that again.
Now, we've talked about this before, the absence of Brian Roberts from the Orioles lineup, but he's sort of like the tone. He sets the tone for the lineup, and without him, you don't have any real grinders. Lugo is he's a free swinger at the top of the order. You don't have somebody that can grind things out towards the top of the order for the Orioles. The closest to it is Markakis. He does draw his share of walks, and he's got a pretty good on-base percentage. That's what you're shooting for. If you get to 40% of the time on base, that's excellent.
1-1. Outside, 2-1.
Michael, we talked about it in our open, the fact that the other starters have coming through the rotation looking pretty good in their last outings, and CC doesn't want to be the odd man out.
It's hard to believe he has not won a game in a month.
Yeah.
He's had opportunities. The bullpen blew a game for him in his last start against the Indians. He didn't pitch that well, but he had the lead. He was up 10-4 when he left after 6, and Yankees couldn't hold on, so you certainly can't blame him for that loss. He's 4-3, 4.16, and after 11 starts last year, 5-3, 3.46, so not that much of a difference. And he ended up winning 19 games and helping the Yankees win a World Series. Last time out, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He labored, though.
Yeah, 113 pitches in 6 innings. That's usually he can get deeper before he gets to 100 pitches.
And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. 1-2-3 inning for CC Sabathia, and he did it on 11 pitches. Orioles nothing, and the New York Yankees coming to bat. Hey Posada, Curtis Granderson in center field will bat 7th. Batting 8th and catching Francisco Cervelli, and Brett Gardner in left field is going to bat 9th.
35-year-old Kevin Millwood, the veteran. Let's check out his numbers on the season. And he's done a pretty good job despite the fact that he hasn't won a game. This will be his 12th start, 0-5. You can see the ERA is pretty good. What would lead you to believe is he doesn't get much in the way of run support. That's very true. He's got excellent control. He walks about just 2 batters per game. He has allowed 12 home runs. When you have good control, sometimes you catch too much of the plate, and he's not that overpowering. And the Cano show could continue today. Robinson Cano, 381 in his career against Kevin Millwood.
Millwood does a good job. He throws a lot of innings, but on a bad team, he hasn't been able to pick up a win. So the 3.89 ERA does stand out in the American League, and you haven't won a game yet. So Derek Jeter digs in. He had his hitting streak snapped yesterday. He did not pick up a base hit in the game, so 9 games is where his streak ends. But he's still 11 for his last 23. And the pitch from Millwood is a breaking ball outside, 1-0.
Millwood, a veteran. He's been around a while. He's won as many as 18 games in a season, both times with the Atlanta Braves. He did it twice on 2 occasions with Atlanta. And the Orioles actually got him in a trade with the Texas Rangers for Chris Ray. And the feeling was that Millwood would come over here and lead this young staff. Orioles have a lot of youngsters in their rotation. And to Millwood's credit, he has not complained about the lack of run support or sometimes the poor defensive efforts behind him. But he's just going out there every 5th day taking the baseball.
1-1. And it shows you that the Orioles were expecting better things this year. Why would you acquire a veteran like that to lead a staff unless you were ready to make that next step? And they haven't done that. They've taken a step back. And so many people at the ballpark today on the Orioles side talking about how it could be over for Dave Tremblay after this game, where he might be that close to being fired.
Yeah, they head home, and their homestand is not going to get any easier. They play the Red Sox, who they played pretty well against. They've won 4 out of 6 they've won. Then the Yankees come to Baltimore, and then the Mets.
Well, as long as they're playing the Mets on the road, they got a chance.
The Mets
just don't play well on the road. It's a completely different team at home. The 3-1, and Jeter works a walk. Why don't we take a look at the Orioles defense behind Millwood, and it's brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, Scott Jones, Markakis left to right. Infield, Tejada, Izturis, Lugo, and Atkins third to first. Craig Tatum behind the plate, and Kevin Millwood on the mound. Big spread today in the New York Post about Nick Swisher and his fiancée, and beautiful picture and quotes from his fiancée's mom and grandmom, and he was kind of startled at how big it was. But he was real happy because his future mother-in-law is quoted as saying, "I've never seen my daughter happier."
Oh, that's...
And Nick Swisher now pretty happy. He dumps a single into center.
Yeah, Nick's having himself quite a homestand. Nick is now 13 for 27 on homestand. That'll make the whole family happy, Nick. Solid line drive to center field for a base hit.
That's how you pay for the ring.
It's all about the bling, huh, Michael?
First and second. And here is Mark Teixeira. Mark is 1 for 10. 1 for his last 10. Still trying to get on track. Hit the ball hard a couple of times to first base yesterday to no avail. Just line drives that were caught. There's a strike.
Yeah, one thing Teixeira has done, though, he's been making a lot of contact lately. He's not struck out in his last 43 plate appearances. That's the second longest of his career. And as you said last night, he did hit the ball hard a couple of times and came up empty.
Buzzed the fastball inside. A lot of rumors about Millwood. Veteran. Team's not going anywhere. Other teams might want him. Mets have been discussed. He'd be a perfect guy to slide in behind Santana and Pelfrey. And he was asked about it. He said, I'd love to play in New York. He said, if they trade me, they trade me. Runner goes to third. Throw to third. Stolen base for Jeter.
Yeah, this is all set up as Tejada well off the line with Teixeira at the plate. So all of a sudden, it's a race to the bag, and it's going to have to be a perfect storm. The throw has to be there, and first of all, Tejada has to worry about catching the baseball before he can even think about making the tag. Ball's in the dirt. Jeter's in there safely with a stolen base. The only thing that didn't go right for the Yankees on that play, Swisher's still at first base.
That throw actually beat Jeter, but what Kenny said, it was a race to the bag to catch the ball, and he had to do all of that and tag Jeter, and it didn't happen. It was not the perfect storm for the O's. So Swisher remains at first. First and third. 1-2 count on Teixeira. 2-2. Type of team the Orioles are, you score on them early, they might go to bed. You could just completely take them out of the game. You can't let them hang around. That's how teams like this win games against better teams. You let them hang around, and something happened like it did with the Indians.
Their best shot to win a game was in the first game of the series when it was
1-1.
Yeah, and an error led to the Yankee victory. But I mean, here's a team that scored 5 runs on this road trip. 5 games, they're 0-5, and they scored 5 runs.
That's a pitch. Is the second base umpire saying ball?
No, the second base umpire says it's a balk, and it should be. But the veteran Millwood knew that he had to attempt to throw the ball to home plate. It looked like his spike got caught. He did deliver the ball, and that's what he's saying to the second base umpire, Jim Reynolds, who called it a balk. First base umpire Tim Wilkie, the same thing. Looks like he gets caught up on the rubber. See, he's actually off the rubber before he delivers the ball, and that's a balk in itself. See, before he throws the ball. Gets caught up. Now he knows he has to get the ball headed towards home plate, but he was already off the rubber before he did it.
Tremblay's argument is that he threw the pitch, but what you're saying is he threw the pitch after his foot left the rubber.
After the balk was already committed. Well, what else can go wrong?
Why is he arguing with DeMuro? He didn't call it. It was the second base umpire, Jim Reynolds, who called the ball.
See, that could be construed as trying to deceive the runners. Stuff happens.
To the Orioles a lot. So now Swisher is at second. Still nobody out. 2-2. Swing and a miss. And Mark Teixeira down on strikes. So Jeter's stolen base at third base led to the run because he scores from third on the ball.
Gee, I just mentioned it. Teixeira hadn't struck out in 43 plate appearances, just 2 away from his all-time mark, and he goes down on a strikeout.
Well, the Yankees are up 1-0 on the balk, and they are 22-5 when they score first. Here's Alex Rodriguez. Count 1-0. fly ball, right field. Backing up Markakis on the track, he'll make the play. With a second out, moving to third is Swisher. I think the ball's going to carry today, Kenny, because he really didn't hit that and it went right to the wall.
Yeah, Erod said that the ball does carry better here at Yankee Stadium in the daytime, and you're right. He didn't really quite get it. Maybe a little off the end of the bat, certainly a little underneath it. He didn't drive it. It was a high, lazy fly ball, and still made it out to the fence. Markakis plays it. Swisher moves over to third. You know what, as a hitter, how frustrated you get when you know you almost got one? Almost.
Here is Robinson Cano. We've detailed his streak, 16 straight games, 32 for 68. 17 for his last 25. Leads the American League in hitting at 373. Leads the Yankees in all of those offensive categories. Pretty good year so far. Jeter and Cano are in the same group during batting practice, and you see where Cano ranks this season in the American League. Just an off-the-chart season. And Jeter kept rubbing up against him. Rubbed his arm, took his bat, then rubbed the bat, then like rubbed his calf, and then Robinson Cano just hugged him and said, here, he's trying to get some of the luck. That one is driven out to left center, giving Chase Jones on the run. 17 in a row. Run scores. And Robinson Cano with an RBI double, and Jeter didn't rub all the luck off. 2-0 Yankees.
Simply amazing, folks. Right now, I don't think there's any doubt of who the best hitter in the American League is. That's a tough pitch. It was kind of up. It was about belt high out over the plate. And it's not his best swing. He didn't get much body into it, but got good wood on the ball. We were talking about how well the ball travels today. You just called it with A-Rod's fly ball that he didn't hit well. I don't think he hit that particularly well, and it got over Adam Jones' head in center field.
17 games in a row for Cano. His career high is 18 straight. He's done that twice. And it also gives him 43 runs batted in, which leads the team 2 over A-Rod. A lot of reasons to smile. Kim Jones told this story on the pregame show in the 4th inning. Derek Jeter went inside the clubhouse for a moment, and Cano was up, and Cano ends up flying out to left field. So Jeter didn't see it while he was in the clubhouse and asked Kevin Long what happened. He said, Robbie just flew out to left. He said, what's wrong? Anything wrong?
You know, we've talked about Cano being the protection for Alex Rodriguez in the lineup this season. Well, the importance of having Jorge Posada back in the lineup helps Robinson Cano. You know, here's another 300 hitter, a proven run producer that you can stick behind Robinson Cano to give him protection. So as you talk about it, Michael, that lengthens the lineup, makes it more difficult for the opposing pitchers to navigate.
Great moment on the field before the game, Kenny. I don't know if you caught it. Kim Jones was checking in with Jorge Posada because he's been injured, so you check in with him every day. And he looked her in the face. Kim, I don't want to talk to you every day. I want you to leave me alone. And then Kim thought he was serious. He's, I'm kidding. What do you want?
Yeah.
The 2-2. Breaking ball is low, 3-2. I asked Posada, I said, why are you not able to catch? I saw you running yes, and you ran well. He said, you know what, we just haven't tested it yet. I haven't gotten into a crouch, which puts more stress on it. He said, I'll catch, you know, at least in the bullpen in Toronto, but they knew I was ready to run and hit, so they activated me. He said, but I'm not yet catching yet because they haven't tried. They don't want to push it. He said, I think I could. He said, but they're just being better safe than sorry. Change up, swung on and missed by Posada, and that's going to do it here in the first. But the Yankees get 2 runs on 2 hits. Another hit off the bat of Robinson Cano. This one a double to left center field. He has a CC Sabathia. Now on Saturday here at the stadium, there's going to be a boxing match between super welterweight champ Yuri Foreman and three-time world champ Miguel Cotto. And Kim Jones joins us now from the third base camera well to tell us about that, Kim.
That's right. The build-up, the excitement, it has begun for the stadium slugfest, Michael, but there are a lot of preparations still to come. I asked Chief Operating Officer Lon Trost earlier today what the transformation from beautiful baseball field to boxing venue will be like today.
Initially, the first important thing is to make sure we only go 9 innings and we don't go into, extra innings, because as soon as the last out is made and while the fans are leaving and then we're going to get into the cleaning of the field, what you see behind me is a terraplast which we will lay over the field from right field all the way to left field to cover that grass to make certain that the next time we play here, we're in a position that the ball bounces correctly. Once the terraplast is laid, the seats will come in. We have a program where the seats will be coming in columns. Then you'll slide the seats right in there. At the same time, the ring will be built and a canopy will be built. The ring is about 24 by 24, and the canopy will be 100 by 100. So those who are paying the big bucks get to stay dry in case it rains.
What is it like as the excitement builds for the stadium slugfest?
We've had 30 championship fights. We've had 46 fights. Yankee Stadium's just carrying over that legacy. So the excitement is here. We have an interesting card where we have a super welterweight champion who is from Belarus and who is studying to be a rabbi against someone right here, the Bronx out of Puerto Rico, who trains in Tampa. So what more can you ask for?
Anyone interested in seeing that fight live and in person, go to Yankees.com/boxing or Ticketmaster for tickets. And Michael and Kenny, I guarantee you if the Yankees were in town, a bunch of them would be here. First and foremost, Jorge Posada, who is close friends with Miguel Cotto, both from Puerto Rico. Jorge has seen him fight a few times. In fact, Jorge has arranged with traveling Secretary Ben Tulibitz, he thinks, for the Yankees to be able to actually see this fight while they are in Toronto at the team hotel. Jeter will be there, a bunch of Yankees will be there, and should be a fun time for them. And just to correct you a little bit, Michael,
yeah,
Jorge didn't exactly say he was kidding when he said he didn't want to talk to me every day, but he did say, "What do you want?"
Kimberly, how could anybody not want to talk to you? I just don't understand how that could be.
You never know, but it should be a fun night Saturday here in the Bronx.
Well, thank you, Kim. It's not fun for Ty Wigginton as he's jogging halfway to first. He thought it was ball 4. He gets punched out by Mike DeMuro, and he's not too thrilled as he walks slowly past the umpire.
Yeah, let's take a look at the pitch itself, and it might be a little bit outside. But remember, those two had a little bit of a dust-up last night when DeMuro was at first base and called him out on a check swing.
That's way outside.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to mess with those umpires, Michael.
You know, it's interesting. We've all seen the story of Jim Joyce, the umpire, who missed the call for the perfect game for Armando Galarraga yesterday. And I was talking to somebody in a Yankee uniform. I'm going to say who it is.
Okay.
And it seems like a lot of the players are not ripping Jim Joyce. And the guy told me, he said, what do you want the players to do? Jim Joyce is going to umpire their games. He said, if people start hammering the umpire, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Then the other umpire is going to take up Jim Joyce's cause and make calls against the players. He said they're human, and they can hold a grudge. He said, so you're going to see people not say one bad word about Jim Joyce. He said, I don't even think the Tigers will.
Well, if you saw the exchange of the lineups today, I thought it was a very touching ceremony that they had in Detroit today. Jim Joyce, I heard the baseball gave him the opportunity not to umpire today in Detroit, and he said, I'm going behind the plate to his credit and umpire the game. And the fans gave an ovation, and Armando Galarraga came out with the lineups and exchanged the lineups.
And when Galarraga gave the lineup card to Jim Joyce was in tears.
Yeah,
so
he was.
It was certainly an emotional moment in Detroit, and now the big talk around the ballpark, should baseball change that last out? So, I mean, obviously that's something that's going to be discussed. All likelihood it won't happen. Hot shot up the middle, grabbed by Cano. He does everything. And a 1-2-3 inning for CC Sabathia, and he did it in 10 pitches. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0 Yanks.
whatever decision they make, I mean, they're going to make. But this is a really unusual. I got to say, we'll never see it again in our lifetime. It's the third out, and it's a bang-bang play. Take a look at it and think if it warrants a decision. Jim Joyce's career will probably not be marked with a negative issue, a guy that, to me, has had an unbelievable career. Something historical will happen again in the game of baseball, and it doesn't really change anyone's life. If you take a look at this and maybe do something, I don't know. And as I said, I don't want to open up a can of worms for replay for calls on the bases. That's not what I'm trying to do. This is really an unusual event.
It certainly is. That was Joe Girardi before the game being asked, would you be okay if, say, the commissioner, Bud Selig, stepped in and said, you know what, it's clear that he was out. It's clear it's a perfect game. Nothing would be affected if I just change this other than Donald not getting a hit, which he doesn't deserve. And maybe I'll change it. So Joe said he was on board for that. He doesn't want replay on the bases. But Kenny, are you on board for changing the call?
I don't think they should. I mean, there's a human element to this game, and it was like a perfect storm situation. Jim Joyce clearly got the call wrong. You know what, though? I know that you don't want to have replay infringe any further on the game than it is now with the home runs and or fair or foul or over the fence or that sort of situation.
Knocked down by Millwood, and Granderson is out for the first time.
But let me ask you if you're into this idea. Say a pitcher has a perfect game going, like Galarraga did last night, and a game gets to a certain stage. Say you get to the last trip through the order. Maybe you expand the replay situation only in this instance if he's got a perfect game going. For, say, a trap ball in the outfield, a line drive down the line, fair or foul, or the only play you would get on the bases would be at first base if he's got a perfect game going. What do you think about that?
I don't like just relegating it to perfect games. I don't think that there should be replay like that, but I think that that's going to open up the discussion what happened last night. I just think, you said it was a perfect storm, and they would never be changing all these other calls. Well, if you change that call, you're going to change other calls. Why should we just zero in on perfect games? There are games that are bigger for a team than a perfect game is for Armando Galarraga. So I don't think you could put an import on when you're going to institute replay. I just think one case scenario where Bud Selig says, hey, I'm invoking the best interest of the game clause, and I think, let's credit the guy with a perfect game. Nobody gets harmed. The game was still won by the Tigers anyway, and this guy gets what he truly deserves. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I really wouldn't. And I wouldn't have a problem. People always say the human element. Well, human beings invented the machines where you see replays, so it's still human element. I wouldn't have a problem if they change it. I just don't think they will. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think they will either. All right, so everybody that's watching, let's go to our text poll because we want to see what you think. The Toyota text poll. Today's question is, do you feel Armando Galarraga should be credited with a perfect game? Now, the choices are 1, yes, 2, no. You can text your vote to 58772, and standard text messaging rates apply. I bet you, Kenny, that the majority will vote yes. It should be changed.
I have a feeling that will be the case, too. Are you texting already?
Well, we'll see it twice, 3 times. So walk to Cervelli, and here's Gardner. I thought that the kid handled it so beautifully.
Oh, he was awesome.
And when Joyce came into the clubhouse to apologize yesterday or last night, he said, hey, don't worry about it. Nobody's perfect. And, my answer would be, well, tonight you were. But for him to be that gracious, nobody's perfect. Wow. Strike to Gardner. He threw just 88 pitches in the game. And you know what? That's the exact number that David Cohn threw in his perfect game, because I remember that because it was Yogi Berra Day. Number 8 was on the field.
You know what? Galarraga might become more famous for what should have been than what actually didn't happen.
Yeah, he would have been the 21st perfect game, and now he's the guy who had a perfect game taken away from him. He's probably going to be more remembered. You hope he's remembered, and he had a good line about his sons. He said, I'll get a DVD, and I'll show my sons that I was perfect. As Gardner swings and misses. And the big thing that hasn't been discussed because of the blown call, Kenny, Miguel Cabrera ranged way too far to his right. That ball was Guillen's ball, and if Cabrera stays anchored at first, there's no argument there because there's not as many moving parts.
See, but even so, you might be right about that, but as a first baseman, you're taught to get anything within your reach, and he made the play. He made the play. It was a difficult play, I'll give you that. You know, he had to turn and throw. He made an accurate throw. The play was made.
There's Jeter. And he's a much better first baseman than people give him credit for. Now, he's not Teixeira. He's not Payne. He's not in that category. But he used to be really rough around the bag, but now he's a lot better.
Well, they thought of it that he eventually was going to be a DH. They were looking for a position for him.
Soft ground ball to second base off the bat of Jeter. And that will do it in the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, one man left. We go to the third, 2-0 Yanks. It's time for this moment in Yankees history, brought to you by Johnny Walker. Demand greatness at every sip and every season. Johnny Walker, proud sponsor of the New York Yankees. Lou Gehrig became the first player in the modern era to hit 4 home runs in a game back in 1932. But here's the bad part, Kenny. He got no love in the newspapers at all. You know why?
Something else happened
the
that day.
Same day John McGraw retired as manager of the Giants.
Oh, that's right.
So it was just like an aside. Oh, by the way, Lou Gehrig hit 4 home runs.
It's almost like Ken Griffey yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pitch to Adam Jones. Dodge scoreboard. Yankees lead 2-0. Jones takes the strike. And I did speak to Alex Rodriguez about Ken Griffey today.
Yeah.
And he said, when I got there, he said, I was 17 years old. High fly ball, deep left center. Granderson back, track, wall, see ya. Ball is jumping out of here today. A solo home run for Adam Jones, and the Yankee lead is now 2-1.
Let's see if CC was able to get this ball anywhere near where he wanted it. Jones has hit 6 home runs this year now, all 6 of them on the road. That was right in the middle of the play. Let's listen to this one. It had that sound, and it certainly had the distance into the Baltimore bullpen, and they are on the scoreboard.
So Jones his 6th home run, and CC is now allowed a home run in 8 of his last 9 starts. So anyway, this is what A-Rod said. He said it was like having a front row seat of greatness. He said he would do things that you just couldn't believe. He said the thing that used to always strike me, he said, it'd be 6:50, line drive right at Teixeira. Tatum's retired. He said it would be 6:50 for a 7 o'clock game, and he'd be sitting in the clubhouse eating ice cream and joking around. He said, you think there's no way this guy's getting ready for the game. He said then at like 7:12, he'd be climbing the wall, making a catch, or hitting a home run into the third deck. He said he just had a switch. He could turn it on and off. He said he said, I know there was always rumors out there that I didn't get along with him. He said, but he and his wife were great to me. They helped get me settled in as a major leaguer. He said, I loved the guy. He said, I loved watching him play. Here's Cesar Torres. Slow roller toward Alex, or should I say Robinson Cano. And there's 2 away. Now, one of Griffey's most famous catches ever, Ken, came back at the old Yankee Stadium. This was against Jesse Barfield. That's just not right.
Yeah, acrobatic, the home run power, the ability to steal bases. I mean, he could do it all. I remember as we look at 22 Major League seasons, 13-time All-Star, 10 Gold Gloves, MVP, back-to-back 56 home run seasons, and 5th all-time on the home run list.
And he's at 630 over those 22 seasons, and I guess he missed the equivalent of about 3 years because of all the injuries he's had, maybe even more than that.
So your feeling is he might have been the all-time leader?
He could have been up there, for sure. He could have been up there. I just, I feel sorry. You don't have to feel sorry for somebody who's had such a great life, but that he had to retire in the middle of a season. I just don't like. I hope they didn't force him out.
Well, the feeling is that you realize that you can't do it anymore. And I thought he was going to retire at the end of last year, because even though he still had that beautiful swing, it was not nearly as quick as it was back in the day, back in the late 90s, when it was like lightning coming through the strike zone. I know his dad worked with him, who was he had the luxury of having a father who played in the major leagues and taught him that swing, and it was just perfection to watch. On balance, great power, and all those home runs in the, as you said, the third deck at the Kingdome.
He also provided a very awful moment for Yankee fans. He's the one who raced around the bases in Game 5 in '95 to eliminate the Yankees from the playoffs.
Edgar Martinez.
Yep.
And that was a testament to Griffey's speed, because the Kingdome was very cozy, and that was a kind of a line drive towards the corner, and he scored all the way from first.
And it got to the wall quickly because of the artificial turf as well. And the 2-2. And
I don't know if you've had the opportunity to listen to Dave Niehaus, a longtime voice of the Mariners, call on that play. It's a classic, and they still play it in the Great Northwest. But Niehaus has been there since the beginning, when they came into being in 1977.
And the 2-2. Change up, fouled off.
I mentioned that Lugo, hasn't had much success against right-handed pitching, only hitting 143, or make that 133 against righties. But lefties, he's 200 points or more, better than that. So that's why Dave Tremblay has him in the lineup leading off, even though Lugo is much more of a free swinger. He's up there hacking away. He's not going to take too many pitches.
2-2. Rounded to second. Cano right there. And that'll do it. Well, the Orioles get one of the runs back. Adam Jones. An 0-1 pitch. He drives it into the bullpen in left center. His 6th home run. A 2-1 Yankee lead. IOTV. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV. Well, where's this wind, Kenny? I don't feel a wind right now. The flags are flapping. I feel no air at all.
And it must be at our backs. And, of course, we've got the rest of the stadium at our backs. And the Dodge scoreboard, the Yankees leading 2-1 in the bottom of the third.
Nick Swisher, Mark Teixeira, and Alex Rodriguez. If anybody gets on, Robinson Cano will get a hack against Kevin Millwood. So the Yankees scored 2 in the first, a balk and an RBI double by Robinson Cano. Pitch is high. Swisher at 324. Lined into shallow center, and that's going to be caught by Adam Jones.
Jones got a late break on that and looked like he was fooled, especially the way Swisher had a pretty good swing at it. And sometimes it can fool an outfielder. He thinks the ball is hit a lot better than it actually is. Swisher might have got that off the end of the bat. Late break, but Jones has more than enough closing speed to make the play. You know, the way his body type and the type of speed he has, he could be a good cornerback in the NFL. Here's on Yes Mo as Adam Jones makes the play.
You know, Yes Mo is starting to catch on with the players, Kenny.
Tell me.
Because as Mark Teixeira rips one down the right field line, that's going to go into the corner. Played out there by Markakis. He has a good arm. Fires to second, but Teixeira is there with a double.
So they like Yes Mo?
Well, Jorge Posada yesterday scored from first on a double. And if you watched him, he looked like he was running pretty well. And he looked at me, he says, you know, I watched the replay of that. He goes, I was fast even in Yes Mo.
Well, yes, this is going to be a double for Mark Teixeira. His 10th two-base hit of the year. I had a chance to talk to Kevin Long, Yankee hitting coach, prior to the game, and we were talking about, you know, he gets a lot of. We talk about him now a lot because of the way Robinson Cano is hitting, but Nick Swisher's swinging the bat well. So are several of the other Yankees. And Kevin was saying, I asked him who are his favorite hitters, and he said, I'm not going to mention any of our guys, but he said around the league or around the major leagues, he likes Michael Young of Texas. He says he hits a lot like Derek Jeter. He says, how could you not like Joe Mauer? You know, batting champion 3 times, MVP. And then he said Albert Pujols of the Cardinals. Yankee fans, they don't get to see him as much because he's over there in the National League. But those were his top 3. And you can't argue with any one of those guys.
No, you take them all.
Uh-huh.
Long called me into the indoor batting area, and Alex Rodriguez taking BP, and he placed 3 balls right on the middle of the plate. And he said, I'm going to guarantee you something right now. I said, what? If Alex gets a pitch in this area right here today, he said he's going to hit it out. He said, I'm telling you, this is what an Alex Rodriguez does. And Alex was laughing. He said, watch, he'll hit it out.
Towards the middle of the plate.
Just the line 3 balls up in the middle of the plate. He said, the width of those 3 balls. He said if he gets a pitch anywhere there, it's going out today.
Okay. We must know the ball travels in the daytime. In other words, not on the corners.
Right.
Yeah.
The 2-2.
That was towards the corner. See, but the whole thing is the pitcher has to throw the ball there, and he's not really trying to.
Which means he will crush a mistake today.
Well, eventually they do make mistakes. They get the ball towards the middle. If they didn't, there'd be a lot of 1-0 games.
The 2-2. Still 2-2.
This cat and mouse game between pitcher and hitter. Millwood is very crafty. He's been around a long time. Good breaking ball, good changeup. He struck out Posada on a changeup to end the first inning. He's got good enough fastball and a tremendous slider. There's the breaking ball.
So the count full for A-Rod, 3-2. Yankees up 2-1. Teixeira leads off second with 1 out. And Millwood deals the 3-2. Driven out to right field. Giving chase Markakis on the run. See ya! Home run. Alex Rodriguez, a 2-run shot. His 591st of his career. And it gives the Yankees a 4-1 lead.
Well, Michael, we're going to have to see if this is within the width of those 3 baseballs. Let's take a look.
No,
oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
He hit a pretty good pitch. The problem for Millwood was the ball was up about belt high. He did get it over the outside corner, but A-Rod didn't have to go that far to get it. It was belt high, got enough wood on it, and drove it out of the ballpark.
His 8th home run, he now ties Cano with 43 runs batted in. And the pitch is outside to Cano.
See, and I think that's the difference between Alex Rodriguez and a lot of the home run hitters. One reason why he has 591 home runs, because it doesn't have to be that much of a mistake. He can hit the ball out anywhere in the ballpark.
Well, next up is Sammy Sosa. I don't know if he's going to catch Griffey this year, but he certainly will.
One thing is, you look at that list, Alex is now the all-time active leader in home runs, with the retirement of Ken Griffey Jr.
And the 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. They were having a good time today in the indoor batting cage. As, Long was throwing him BP from about 30 feet away. And that's a walk to Cano. And that's a special drill that the guys have indoors, Kenny, where he's standing about 30 feet away behind the screen, and he whips it underhand toward the plate. And it's a very effective drill for these guys as Rick Kranitz goes out and talks with Millwood. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
The fact that he's so close, and even though he's whipping it underhand, it kind of simulates what you would get from 60 feet 6 inches if a pitcher were throwing overhand.
And a lot of what Kevin does as a batting coach is he also works with the mind. And Alex heard what he was saying to me, and he's screaming. He goes, because Alex Rodriguez is a special player. He does damage to balls like that. He's not just like any other player. And Alex was laughing, but again, it makes the player feel good.
Part of it's being a psychologist.
Yeah. A lot of it is.
Because to be honest with you, you have to have a positive outlook when you get to the ball, when you get into the batter's box. If you think any negative thoughts, you're not going to get any hits. I mean, you have to be positive. I mean, you got to realize you're going to fail 70% of the time, and still 7 out of 10 times, and still be a pretty good hitter. Be one of the best hitters. Could you imagine if you shot 30% in basketball? You wouldn't play. If you completed 30% of your passes as a football player, you wouldn't play. If you only, would you be a good boxer if only 30% of your punches landed? Depends on how good they are.
Yeah, it depends on the punches.
Yeah.
And the 1-2. That one gets away from Tatum. Heads up base running by Cano as he goes to second. They scored a wild pitch.
Yeah, it's a wild pitch. Tatum's known as a good defensive catcher, but Posada in his way impeded his opportunity to throw out Cano, and Cano scampers down to second base.
Line drive, base hit to right field off the bat of Posada. They're going to hold up Cano, and the throw is cut off by Atkins. So a single for Posada.
With only one out, no sense sending Cano. Markakis, one of the best throwing outfielders in the league. And Robbie Thompson right away threw up the stop sign, and he's going to give Granderson the opportunity to drive in a run. Looked like a little cutter to the end of third, and Posada was right on it. Lines it through the hole, and here's Markakis. Got a good break, got a good bounce, and comes up throwing. Ball is cut off by Atkins.
Here's Granderson, hot shot back to the mound, stabbed by Millwood in the second. And a strike. That's past the diving Atkins and into right field. Scoring is Cano, stopping at second Posada. An RBI single for Granderson, giving him a 7-game hitting streak and giving the Yankees a 5-1 lead.
The second time Granderson has hit the ball hard, and this time he got it through the hole. First time it was knocked down by Millwood. Looked like a sinker. Couldn't get it far enough away, and he's able to drill it past Atkins into right field. The Yankees have another run. Oriole bullpen is busy. It's Jason Birkin.
Here's Francisco Cervelli. Pitch outside. Granderson has now driven in a run in 3 straight games. So Granderson with a 7-game hitting streak, and Posada at second also has a 7-game hitting streak that was interrupted by a DL stint. There's a strike. There's a ground ball to second. Let's see if they turn 2. There's one. On to first. It's a double play. A 4-6-3 double play. But the Yankees get 3 runs, 2 of them on this one swing. Alex Rodriguez goes the other way, picks up his 8th home run. And after 3, the Yankees lead. 345 home runs as a shortstop, most all time in Major League history. Alex Rodriguez is second with 344. So who is third? We'll find that out in the bottom of the fourth inning. And we have a special guest here in the booth right now. Iconic, I guess we could say iconic. The iconic boxing promoter Bob Arum, and he's going to be promoting the fight on Saturday here at the Stadium Slugfest. Bob, how you doing?
They're really good, really good. I'm very excited. Really, the whole country, the whole world is talking about this fight. This afternoon, I do a special for BBC that goes all over the world.
Tell me about these fighters, because we've heard the names, Foreman, Cotto. Tell me about both of them.
Well, Cotto is the biggest draw in New York. He comes from Puerto Rico. Last 5 years, in 5 events, he's done over 93,000 seats sold. Wow. He's really, really popular, particularly in the Puerto Rican community. He's a great fighter. He's fought everybody to fight in the welterweight division. And now he's going up to junior middleweight to fight the new champion, Yuri Foreman, whose story is something that we've never seen in the sport of boxing.
He's studying to become a rabbi, right?
That's right. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, that's really, I mean, you know, and the story keeps getting, you know, more and more magnified. In the Wall Street Journal today, they said that he has a parrot that stays on his shoulder that has the Jewish name Yankel. Yeah. If I made this up, who would believe it?
How's sales for the fight going?
Very, very well. We'll have a great attendance. The ring will be in right center field, and 10,000 seats on the field, and great seats in the stands. Should be a fantastic night.
Bob, how did their styles match up?
Well, remember the old days, Ali and Fraser?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Well, Yuri's style, I'm not comparing the two, but his style is just like Ali.
Okay.
He boxes from the outside. He moves a lot. He's a great jab.
Stick and move.
Yeah. And Cotto's style is all pressure like Joe Frazier.
Oh, that should be a good match.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really, really interesting. Cotto idea of a good fight when he beat Mosley, he beat Zab Judah, was to keep the pressure on constantly.
Okay.
And that's what he's going to do with Foreman. Foreman's going to dance and move. He has great lateral movement and try to keep Cotto off him with the jab.
Now, tell me about the venue, Bob. And Miguel Tejada struck out. Nick Markakis up now, because this is iconic for boxing. It hasn't happened since '76, Ollie Norton, but there have been 30 championship fights at Yankee Stadium, 46 fights in total. What does the venue add to this?
Well, Yankee Stadium, if you study history, was associated with big boxing matches. None bigger than a fight that really changed the way the world looked at things, and that was the second Lewis Schmeling fight. I mean, that fight is history, not just boxing history, it's history. And that took place at Yankee Stadium. I had the honor of doing the last fight in Yankee Stadium in 1976 when the great Muhammad Ali fought the third and final fight with Ken Norton. That fight was the whole atmosphere was ruined when the police went on strike, and it wasn't a great experience. But the Yankee Stadium lent itself to these big fights.
Well, Bob, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great fight on Saturday. We wish you good luck with it. I hope it's a huge success.
Yeah, thank you. It will be.
Bob Arum, the fight is Saturday. It's called the Stadium Slugfest. Not a slugfest right now. Yankees are leading 5-1. Yankees Stadium in the Bronx. It's 5-1 the Yankees over the Orioles. 5-6-0, leading 1-1-0. The only hit, the only run, a home run by Adam Jones on the Orioles side. Here's Brett Gardner. And Gardner struck out in the second inning. And Millwood deals. Jumps on the first pitch and fouls it back.
It's great to have Bob Arum up here.
Should be a fun night. I hope that this could become a venue for big fights, because it seems like all the big fights are in Vegas. But we'll see how this one goes on Saturday. It'd be great to have heavyweight championships here.
Yeah, he was quite right. I read a book about the Yankee Stadium and the fights of the past, including the one that Bob mentioned, the fight between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling, one of the classics.
And that did just have more implications
yeah.
than just a boxing match, a sporting event.
Well, you know, the impending war, World War II.
Slapped into left field. They had him played perfectly. And Luke Scott puts it away for the first out. Now let's take a look at the answer to the New York State Smokers Quit Line quiz. Cal Ripken Jr. leads all shortstops with 345 home runs. Alex Rodriguez is second with 344. Who's third?
My guess would have been Ernie Banks, but I don't think that was right.
Well, let's see who's right. Miguel Tejada.
Wow.
He's not picking up any more over there at third base. Ripken moved to third. A-Rod moved to third. Tejada moved to third.
Banks moved to first.
Here's Derek Jeter. He's still at short. And the pitch is outside. You know that A-Rod wants to play one more game at short to hit a home run. I mean, Ripken was his idol growing up because that was the big shortstop. Nobody would ever think of a shortstop being tall except for Marty Marion with the Cardinals in the old days. But a big, strong, homer-hitting shortstop they didn't have. They moved him to third, and that cleared the way for Alex to play the position.
Remember the All-Star game?
Yes.
Where A-Rod pushed Cal over the short for one more...
Yep.
One more inning.
Little did A-Rod know it was a portent of things to come. You see Ripken, A-Rod, Tejada, and Ernie Banks. Punched out the other way, a base hit. Almost an excuse me swing by Jeter. And he picks up a single. Now, if you're wondering, Derek Jeter as a shortstop, 227 home runs. And a one-out single. So here's Nick Swisher. See the numbers, they're all very good. 1 for 2.
Swish with a quick glance at third base coach Robbie Thompson, just to see if hitters like to know that the steal sign is on, that a run will be in motion. Swish has hit the ball well twice. There's Robbie Thompson. Let's talk with him before the game today.
.41 strikes, 30 balls for Millwood.
An off-speed pitch, but I don't think Swisher was fooled all that much. He just missed it. It looked like he was on it, but just swung through it. See how Millwood reads that particular swing. How does he change things? Because he knows that Swisher was kind of on that one. It's called reading the bat. The catcher's supposed to be in on it too. He's supposed to see that the hitter had a pretty good rip at the previous pitch.
One-two, swing and a miss. And Swisher down on strikes.
Let's take a look at this one, and it actually kind of drops out of the strike zone. Swisher strikes himself out, and you can see his not very happy with the outcome of that at bat. Nick is usually more proficient at picking at pitches of swinging at pitches in the strike zone.
Here's Teixeira, doubled his last time up. Count 1-0. Working inside, outside, outside, inside. Count 2-0.
Yeah, Millwood, not really overpowering, but he's very good at moving the ball around, trying to stay one step ahead of the hitter. Not staying in one place too long. He thought that one might have caught the corner, didn't get the call. Now, Michael, you mentioned the fact that Millwood might be trade bait as you get into next month, a little closer to the trade deadline.
And Teixeira walks on 4 pitches. Here comes Alex Rodriguez. And let's give a scouting report, a Home Depot scouting report on the Yankee third baseman.
Yeah, our hitter scouting report today features Alex Rodriguez, and we already told you with the retirement of Ken Griffey Jr., A-Rod with a home run today now becomes the active leader, 591. 50 home runs and 165 runs batted in. That's what he has done against Baltimore pitching in his career. Those numbers lead all active players in home runs and RBIs, and he likes home cooking. Now he's hitting over 350 here at Yankee Stadium this season with that home run.
You know, with Alex Rodriguez up, an ugly moment in the Indian series when Alex hit a comebacker off the head of David Huff, the Cleveland youngster. And, you know, David Huff is back on the mound today starting against Detroit. And in 3 innings, he's given up 5 runs. But Cleveland leads 6-5, bottom of the 4th in that game. The 0-1. 1-1.
Here are the active leaders in home runs. A-Rod, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, and Chipper Jones. All of them been on the All-Star team multiple times. But you can see what Millwood's changing up this time. He's trying to keep the ball in on Alex Rodriguez. The home run went to right center. Previously, he flied out to right, just missed a home run when Millwood tried to keep the ball away. So this time around, everything's in.
Birkin up again. He was warming earlier. It's strange because one thing that Millwood gives them is innings. And for them to have the bullpen up twice before the end of the 4th inning.
Yeah, but Millwood is a victim in a sense that he gets the 2nd worst run support in the league. So while he's giving out innings, he's not getting much in the way of run support on the scoreboard. And that's why, even though he's got a good ERA, you pointed it out, he hasn't won a game this year.
One-two. 2-2. First and second, 2 outs, 2-2 count. Millwood seems very reluctant to throw the baseball today, working very slowly. Even Alex Rodriguez said that's enough.
Well, I think that, Tatum's a backup catcher. And these two probably haven't worked all that much together. And Wieters is the #1 catcher, but Wieters getting an afternoon off following the night game last night here at the stadium. Well, these two probably haven't worked all that often in a game together. And there's a different rhythm from catcher to catcher that pitchers have to get used to.
The 2-2. Fouled away. Now this is when you think that the SEC might be doing the right thing. Southeastern Conference in their playoffs had a 20-second clock. And it shaved 15 minutes off the games from last year.
Yeah, well, the 20-second clock was instituted when there was nobody on base.
On base.
Yeah.
You had to throw the ball within 20 seconds of receiving it. Slow roller toward third. Barehanded, fires. Nice play by Miguel Tejada to get Alex Rodriguez for the final out of the 4th inning. No runs a hit, no errors, 2 men left on base. We played 4 innings, and the bottom of the 4th ended by that nice play by Tejada. Yankees are on fire. Next couple of days, I would think, and especially today on talk radio and the newspapers, internet, the whole deal, Sports Center. We go to the 5th inning. Here's Luke Scott, and there's a strike from CC Sabathia as the Yankees lead this one 5-1. And CC deals. Now, Joe Girardi was asked today what's been the problem with CC, and he said that his fastball and his changeup are cutting. He said, and the reason for that is he's getting too far out over his front side. So he's kind of rushing things, and when the fastball cuts, it stays on an even plane. The same thing with the changeup, and he gets hurt. So he just needs more downward movement on those pitches. That's a foul ball down the left field line. Or at least a diagonal movement, Kenny. You don't want it side to side, east or west.
Yeah, you want to get up on top of it a little bit more as opposed to your breaking ball, actually your cutter. That's what CC's breaking ball is. It actually flattens out, and it certainly gives the right-handed hitters a longer look at it. It doesn't quite have the tilt. You know, when I say tilt, it doesn't go down this way. It kind of just swings across that way, and it's easier to hit.
And the 1-2.
See, that one had good tilt to it. Sometimes, you know, like hitters, pitchers can fall into mechanical ruts. And it takes a little fine-tuning to get them back on track. Oh.
Breaking ball, strike 3.
That was a nasty one.
4 strikeouts for Sabathia.
This have enough tilt for you, Michael?
Let's see.
Watch this one.
That had tilt.
Yes, it did. And before the game, I had a chance to talk to Tony Pena, too. And we were talking about Francisco Cervelli and the art of catching and calling a ball game. And he said that he said some very interesting things, especially about Cervelli and what he should be thinking about during the course of a game. He said that you should be finishing hitters in different manners in their first 2 at-bats. So when you finish off a hitter, it creates confusion the 3rd time that the hitter comes to the plate when he's facing the same pitcher. And CC usually goes deep in the games. So in other words, you might finish him off outside the first time up. Then you throw him enough pitches in the next time up that he could, by the 3rd time up, he's confused as to where you're going, how you're going to pitch him. He also said that, which I thought was very interesting, as a catcher, you got to know when to change things up and maybe stay with the same thing.
Ground ball to Alex Rodriguez. 2 away.
He said also when he talks to Cervelli after a game, he expects him to remember every sequence to every hitter that came up in the game. He could ask him about Garrett Atkins in the 5th inning. Well, he swung at the first pitch. That might not be a good one. But the sequence of pitches to Luke Scott leading off the 5th inning. He says, what were you thinking? How did it work? And that's how they finished him off finally with that cutter to the outside corner. And he expects him to remember every single pitch of that at bat.
That's pretty amazing. You have to remember all those sequences.
Well, he expects him to give him, you know, close to the right answer. So how this all worked.
Now with Posada back, you know, Cervelli obviously knows he's looking over his shoulder, but he said, I love to catch, and I love to see him catch too. That's a catch-22. And that's something that Posada takes great pride in. He was asked yesterday, you know, would you mind DHing? And he said, I'm still a catcher. And he really wants to still be a catcher. But without Nick Johnson, you know what? It makes sense to have Posada's bat in the lineup and Cervelli catching. It just makes sense. Not a knock on Posada's catching ability. But you wouldn't DH. Oh, he knocks that down with his bare hand. That's not a good thing. And then he pulls Teixeira off the bag. And you just hope that his hand is okay now. And that's an E1 on Cervelli, or on Sabathia. And quickly, the Yankees go check out Sabathia.
Let's take a look. Looked like a one-hopper. Hit pretty well. And CC, well, he got his palm open, which could be a good thing. But then he throws the ball away. And in a way, you got to give Jones credit. He kind of hustled this out once the ball was off, and it made CC would come up with the errant throw. Let's see if Teixeira gets down. I don't know if his foot was on the bag. It's first base umpire Tim Welke said he was off the bag. Oh, here we go. This is a better look on Yesmo.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Is there a sliver of light between his right foot and the bag?
So Sabathia says he is okay. The only Oriole that's gotten on base is Adam Jones, the home run in the E1.
You know, if your finger's just a little bit crooked and the ball hits your finger, it looked to me like it hit him in the palm. You're asking for trouble.
And you always ask, well, why do you do it? And it's just a natural reaction.
Yeah.
They know they shouldn't field the ball with their bare hand, but you're just reaching out because you want to knock the ball down. And it happens so quickly, it's not as if you could say, okay, I shouldn't do this. Both pitches riding up in the zone.
Here's another look, and yeah, he keeps the palm open, which is a good thing. Didn't look like one of the fingertips was hit with the ball.
So the count now 3-0. Let's take a look at that play at first, and we'll use the Coors Light freeze can. Freeze it. Let it go. A little bit more. I think he's safe. I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Count 3-0 on Tatum.
Tatum was in a battle for the backup catching job with Chad Moeller in spring training, the Orioles' new training site in Sarasota. And there was a lot of surprise involved when Tatum actually beat Moeller out. The thought was that Moeller was going to tutor Matt Wieters because Moeller knows the league. And the Orioles chose Tatum instead, who was known for his defensive ability. And then the Yankees eventually signed Moeller to be the emergency backup catcher in case needed, and he was needed when Posada got injured.
Popped up down the right field line. Just makes the seats. So full count, that'll release Jones from first. And the pitch. Grounded foul.
Tatum had spent some time in the big leagues last year with the Cincinnati Reds before coming over to the Orioles.
You know, where this game is going, Kenny, you heard COO Lon Trost interviewed by Kim. I don't know if they're going to get the boxing ring down in time for Saturday. 3-2. Strike three. Tatum down looking. That's the fifth strikeout for Sabathia. No runs, no hits, one error, and one man left on base at the end of 4.5. We're halfway through. Yankees 5, the Orioles 1.
here. Final game against Baltimore. Final game of the homestand. The Yankees will fly out after the ball game, head to Toronto, out of the country. Taking a day off on Monday and then down to Baltimore to complete the road trip. 3-night games down at Camden Yards.
Robinson Cano. That one is grabbed by Lugo. Throws to first. And they actually take a base hit away from Cano. That's some play by Julio Lugo.
Well, lately that's the type of play that the only way you're going to stop him. Lugo ranging to his right on a ball that appeared to be headed through the middle. Gloves it cleanly, and from one knee straightens up and throws out Robinson Cano. Here's the play of Julio Lugo, who has gotten some more playing time with the absence of Brian Roberts.
Pitch to Posada is a strike. The 0-1. So the count 0-2. Posada is 1 for 2. DHing for the second straight game. And the pitch inside.
You know, Posada coming off the disabled list, and believe me, as a player who played a lot, and I was only on the DL once in my career, you feel detached from the team. You just feel like you know, you don't get to go on the road trips. You know, you're not the team when you're getting treatment is not the clubhouse, or you have to go down to the Yankees Tampa facility to get treated, and you just feel that detachment. And for me, the only time I went on a disabled list was the last year of my career, and it kind of gave me an insight as to what was going to be coming pretty soon.
Now, last night, Jorge Posada showed some big-time speed. I mean, he really was running well. And that's when he told me, you know, I even looked fast on Yesmo. But he actually said, you know what, I was in the big league. When I was in the minor leagues, he said, I was a plus runner. He said, I know people don't believe that. And I said, well, I don't. And then he actually brought Robbie Thompson over, who coached him in the minors.
He said,
I said, was he fast?
Uh-huh.
He said he was a plus runner. And Jorge goes, I started as a second baseman. He said, it's all the years of catching. And when I broke my ankle blocking the plate, that took a lot of speed away from me. He said, but people don't remember. He said, I pinch ran in the 1995 playoffs against the Mariners. He was a pinch runner. So he was a lot faster. And then Kevin Long said he actually runs a lot better, and he's not going to have to run there as it's a called third strike. He runs a lot better when he doesn't catch. He said even from day to day, like being a DH, he'll be a step faster being a DH than he would crouching behind the plate all game.
I can see that. I mean, all up and down, up and down, up and down. So you're saying because he was DHing last night, he was even faster?
He was even faster. And also 15, 16 days without catching when he was on the DL.
Now,
there's a line drive base hit up the bat of Granderson, who's really locked in since coming off the DL. Bobbled by Jones. Granderson's going for second. He will make it. That should be a single and an E8. We'll see how they score it.
my point is, could Posada go full circle and come back to being used as a pinch runner?
Plus runner?
Yeah. Here's a plus runner and plus running, plus base running. Just a slight bobble, and Granderson's able to get to second base. And the only reason he was able to do so, because he came out of the box with authority. Take the turn at first, sees the bobble, and then turns it on and goes into second.
You know, we were talking about being on the DL, and Curtis was on the DL for just under a month. And you're separated from the team. So I asked him, I said, do you watch the games? There's a ground ball to short. It scored a single and an E8 as Cervelli grounds out for the final out. And I'll tell you what Curtis Granderson did when we come back. How's that for a tease? I think you got to stick around. Yankees lead 5-1. It's the Joe Girardi Show. Joe recaps this week's important American League East matchups with the Orioles and the Blue Jays and gives an update on the latest injury status. The Joe Girardi Show, all new Sunday at 5 only on Yes. Hey, Mamaroneck Avenue School. What's up, kids?
White Plains, New York.
Plains, New York.
Westchester County, my old stomping grounds.
Cesar Estouras will lead off. And the pitch. Pitch upstairs. 1-0. Now we're talking about Curtis Granderson.
Yeah. I was waiting that whole half inning.
People don't know we don't talk to each other during breaks, just so we can keep this fresh on the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want it to be spontaneous.
And I said, what do you do? Do you watch the games when you're not with the team? He says, it's weird. He goes, I just watch when the guys are up. He goes, I don't watch when the guys are pitching and we're playing defense. He goes, I just watch when we're up. I said, well, what do you do when they're on the field? He said, I try to find reruns of the Cosby Show. I like to hang with the Huxtables. He said, people will call me up in the middle of the game. Did you see that? I go, no, Rudy's singing on the staircase.
You know, Curtis is a big wrestling fan.
Really?
Yeah, big time. WWE.
There's a ground ball to second base. And Estouras is out 4-3.
So it appears to me that CeCe's kind of back on track. It appears.
Now, I'm going to say something, and it's going to be taken the wrong way.
Okay.
It appears.
Yes.
But can you really judge it facing the Orioles, who have scored the fewest runs in the American League?
Well, these are major league hitters.
Right.
You give him that.
He looks sharper.
Yes, he does.
But is he pitching to a real big league lineup right now? You're right, they're major league hitters, but again, last in the American League in runs scored. So that's why I looked at what Vasquez did the other day. You have to temper it a little bit as well. Chano Park starting to stretch.
You don't get to face the 27 Yankees every time, huh? You know what I mean?
Nope. See, but I think a greater litmus test for how far Vasquez has gone will be Sunday against the Blue Jays.
Gotcha.
44 strikes, 23 balls for CeCe because that's a small ballpark that plays small, artificial turf, and a team that's hitting a lot of home runs.
Yeah, they lead the league.
1-1. Change up, 1-2. It's funny, CC's changeup at 87 miles an hour is 5 miles an hour faster than Jamie Moyer's fastball. And I think Moyer's changeup is something like 72 miles an hour. There's a strike 3 to Julio Lugo. And Lugo doesn't like it, and he's telling Mike DeMuro as much.
I think Mike DeMuro has to realize, that looked like a strike to me. I don't know what the Lugo's barking about here. Had plenty of plate, and I bet you when it crossed the plate, it was high enough. You're dealing with a frustrated team, and any little thing that goes wrong, they're going to be upset about it.
High fly ball right field. Swisher makes the catch, retires Tejada, and the Orioles go down in order 1-2-3. They've only had one hit in 6 innings against the Sabathia, a solo home run by Adam Jones. Yankees lead 5-1. After the blown call at first, you've been texting us at 58772. Gardner leads off, and the count is 1-0. 86% say yes, just as we thought it would be. 14% say no. Now, Commissioner Bud Selig has actually issued a statement on the matter. I'll tell you what he said. There's a strike. 5-1, Yankees lead the O's. Foul back. This is a part of the release. He said, as Jim Joyce said in his postgame comments, there's no dispute that last night's game should have ended differently. While the human element has always been an integral part of baseball, it is vital that mistakes on the field be addressed. Given last night's call and other recent events, I will examine our umpiring system, the expanded use of instant replay, and all other related features before I announce any decisions. I will consult with all appropriate parties, including our 2 unions and the special committee for on-field matters, which consists of field managers, general managers, club presidents, club owners, and presidents. So Commissioner Selig is going to take his time on this. He's not going to make a snap judgment when emotions are running high, and he's going to talk to people, which is what Bud does, and we'll see how it turns out, whether or not he's given a perfect game.
It sounds like a lot of consulting going on. But one thing I heard in that statement was the expanded use of instant replay.
Well, I've always worried about one thing, Kenny.
Yeah.
What if a play like that took place on the last play of the World Series and you changed the course of a champion? Now, you could say in 1985 that happened with Don Denkinger with the call at first base with Jorge Orta, but there was baseball after that.
Yeah.
They didn't have to lose at that point. What if it was the last play of the game? That one is driven deep to right field. Markakis back, track, wall, leaps. See ya! Home run, Brett Gardner. And the Yankees lead 6-1. Well, we told you early the ball's going to jump out of here today, and it's jumping out of here today.
Part of Gardner's growth as a hitter is that sometimes when you try and get in on him, he is waiting in the weeds. And here at Yankee Stadium, he just has to get enough of it. And as Michael said today, looks like the ball's traveling. That pitch is in. He was waiting. Here's the swing. Markakis up with the glove. Let's see. Does he come up with a claim? That man in the white shirt? No.
Jeter fouls it away. With his 3 home runs, Gardner now has tied his home run total from last year.
He's also been one of the better hitters for the Yankees here at the stadium. Came in today hitting .380 at Yankee Stadium. And now he adds a home run.
And the count 0-2.
All 3 of Brett Gardner's home runs have come here at Yankee Stadium.
It's weird, though, Kenny. You almost don't want Brett Gardner to hit home runs because you don't want to take him out of the things that he does well.
Yeah, but I still think the majority of his hits go to the opposite field. He's looking to slash and dash, but get ahead on a count. It's worth looking in there one time. Let's see if they want to try and jam me, get in on me, and he was waiting.
Ground ball to second. Lugo right there. 1 out. Along with Ken Singleton and Kimberly Jones, I'm Michael Kay, and you are watching Yankees baseball here on Yes. We thank you for spending part of your Thursday afternoon with us. And it's been all Yankees. CC Sabathia has allowed just 1 run over 6 innings, a home run off the bat of Adam Jones, and only that 1 hit. And the Yankees are leading this one 6-1.
Michael, you mentioned it earlier when just about at the start of the game. When you get ahead of the bad teams,
it's over.
It kind of takes a fight out, but usually it's later on in the season, in the second half of the year. Something's got to change with these Orioles. I mean, they can't continue to lose and lose and lose. If they lose today, it'll be their 8th straight loss. And they'll fall to 15-39.
When you're closing in on 25 games under 500, it's not quite the beginning of June. That's rough. The 0-2. High fly ball, left field. Scott will make the play for the second out.
We're talking about the directions of hits by Brett Gardner. He only has 8 hits to right field this year, and 3 of them are home runs. So that's what I mean. He's primarily looking to hit the ball the other way. He's got 29 hits to center, 18 hits to left field. But of his 8 hits to right field, 3 of them are out of the ballpark here at Yankee Stadium.
Here's Mark Teixeira. The Orioles shift 3 infielders on the right side. Tejada playing his familiar shortstop. Try to tie him up, check swing, and he does check, said Bill Welke. Bill Wood's looking to complete a 6th inning for a 7th straight start, and that's what he does give you. That's his strength. He is going to give you innings. He's going to be a bulldog. Not always going to pitch great, but he's going to battle through. Count 2-1. Grounded foul, 2-2.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the upcoming Oriole homestand, where we've got the Red Sox, the Yankees, and then the Mets. They got a chance to have a lot of fans rooting for the other team during the whole homestand. I mean, we know how the Yankee fans flock to Camden Yards. The Red Sox fans do the same thing, but once then the third team is the Mets. And that would be certainly a novelty for the Met fans. They don't usually get to go to Camden Yards very often. And they're there on the weekend. So it could feel for this team, the Orioles, like they're still on the road.
Three-two. Bat goes one way, ball goes another, and dunks into center for a base hit. Second hit for Teixeira. He's 2 for 3 with a walk. And the bat goes into the stands behind the Yankee dugout. Well, he's not going to complete 6 innings, Kevin Millwood. Dave Tremblay is going to signal to the bullpen. So the veteran Millwood is lifted, and we go to the bullpen. The Yankees are up 6-1.
Bob Arum said.
This call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Excuse me, Michael. I thought it was interesting when Bob Arum said that Foreman fights like Ali. If the original Foreman had fought like Ali, there had never been a rope-a-dope.
That was some fight.
Yes, it was.
Jason Birkin takes over. Decent numbers for somebody out of the Oriole pen. They've really struggled out there. So a hit per inning, 6 walks, 15 strikeouts, 2.08 ERA.
Yeah, Birkin last year was in the rotation for a while, but the Orioles feel he's best suited now and working out of the pen. They've also moved another former starter to the bullpen, David Hernandez. And he's getting closer and closer to the end of the game. I feel he has stuff to be a future closer.
Alex Rodriguez rockets one through the left side of the infield. He picks up his second base hit. So Kevin Millwood watches the rest of the proceedings, and it must be tough for a veteran to pitch on a team like this. You hate to say it, they just seem hopeless out there. There's no life.
Well, this is the furthest he's gone into a season without picking up a win.
He's got a chance, a good chance to pick up a 6th loss. So here's Cano. RBI double in the first to extend his hitting streak to 17 straight. A walk and then robbed of a hit up the middle. Nice backhanded play by Julio Lugo. Birkin in his career against the Yankees, 0-1, 4.50, 2 starts, 1 relief appearance. Foul back. Told you about Cano's 17-game hit streak. In the middle of that, 8 straight as well, or right now. He needs one more hit to extend that. 478, 9 doubles, 3 homers, and 20 ribbies. That's over 17 games streak.
So he had a 9-game hit streak going and then got hotter.
Yeah, pretty much. Long drive down the left field line, but foul. Craig Tatum goes out and talks with Birkin. Now you see a lot of these trips because they're afraid that the runner at second is stealing signs. They really are. Every team is really fearful of that. So there's a lot. Now a lot of the trips are because they can't get on the same page, but I'd say that an equal number are changing signs and making sure that they're not being picked up. Cano is 20 for his last 35, which, I mean, that's the type of numbers that if you were in a beer league in Central Park, they go, wow, that's pretty good. And he's playing at the highest level of baseball in the world.
Those are intoxicating numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what he told Kim Jones yesterday on the field after the game is true. He's swinging at strikes. Now, he still expands the zone more than others because he's got such an amazing stroke and he can reach pitches a little off the zone and still hit hard line drives. But he has really narrowed that zone where he will swing at a pitch. He would swing at balls over his head, a foot outside, and still make contact. He was almost too good for his own good. But now he has instilled some discipline at the plate. And another trip to the mound.
Yeah, this is where they talk about speeding up games. Mike Muro's got to walk out there and say, come on, guys, let's get on the same page here.
Joe Girardi actually said this to me once. He said, you want to speed up games? He said, you put wireless earpieces in the pitcher's head, in their ear, and let the catcher just speak that way. This way, nobody's pitch stealing signs. Almost like what the quarterback has in football, in the helmet. Swing and a miss as Cano goes down on strikes. But the Yankees get one more run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. The big hit of the 3 was the first one of the inning as Brett Gardner picked up his 3rd home run. It's 6-1 Yanks. our music and computer world, and by Ford, the official truck of the New York Yankees. Nice crowd on hand here on a Thursday matinee. The Verizon Wireless scoreboard shows us the Yankees are leading 6-1. And Nick Markakis leads off against CC Sabathia, who's allowed just one hit. And that a home run by Adam Jones. There's a breaking ball strike. In fact, Jones is the only Oriole to reach base. The home run, then they reached on a throwing error by CC Sabathia in the 5th. Now, I mentioned it's hard to really say whether or not CC is on, and he's gotten it back. And there is a way that you could defend that, though. He got racked up twice, once by the Indians, once by the Mets, and neither one of those teams are great offensive teams. Okay. So he is pitching better.
6 strikeouts this far today. Now, if he wins today, it would be his 5th win of the year against 3 losses. It would also be the 3rd time he's beaten Baltimore.
He's 11-1 against the Orioles lifetime.
I think it's amazing when you look at the records of CC, A.J. Burnett, and Andy Pettitte against the Orioles. And, you know, I don't exactly know the numbers offhand, but I know these 3 particular pitchers just deal against the Baltimore Orioles. Andy's beaten them more times than I think anybody in their history.
What's Andy doing with a bat?
Interleague's coming. He's got a home run in his career.
I told you 11-1, 2.52 in 16 games. This is his 17th start against them. Now Pettitte against the Orioles is 27-6, 3.57. 27-6. That's 2 good years. Hit sharply to first. Nice play by Teixeira. One away. And A.J. Burnett against the Orioles is 11-2.
Let's check out Sabathia. Nice play by Teixeira, but here are the strikeouts, and that is Markakis. Wigginton called out on strikes. Swing and a miss by Tejada. Scott goes down on strikes. That is Tatum called out on strikes, and Lugo didn't like this one, but he is called out on strikes as well. Good breaking ball this afternoon for CC Sabathia. That's been the key to his pitching today. Good pitch count, only 76 in the 7th inning.
.51 strikes, 26 balls. Change up, swung on and missed. Wigginton's had a nice year. He was filling in at second for Brian Roberts. Now they've moved him over the first. Today he's DHing. But he might be another veteran that the Orioles could deal to get some young talent in. Be a nice fit on some clubs that need that with some pop in it.
Capable of playing different positions. He can play second, third, first.
Just under the glove of A-Rod into left field. A base hit for Wigginton. You know, we were talking about Andy Pettitte, Kenny, and his last victory, and you'll see this ball just get under the glove of Alex Rodriguez. His last victory put him 100 games over 500 for his career. He has 236 wins, which ties him with one of his idols, Whitey Ford. He said, Whitey Ford has treated me better than anybody's ever treated me. He's accepted me right from the beginning. He said there's always a connection between the lefties in Yankee history. Ron Guidry, Whitey Ford, me. but 100 games over 500 is really rarefied territory. And then you really got to start talking about Hall of Fame when you ask Andy Pettitte that. And I had him on my show the other day, and I asked him, I said, do you think that will put you in the discussion for the Hall of Fame? 5 World Series, 100 games over 500, and you see his numbers there, which are really, really great. And he goes, I really don't, I've never thought about that. He said, because I always used to think the Hall of Fame was for guys who made it easy, made it look easy. Like Derek Jeter makes it look easy. He said, I've got to grunt and grind out there for every single opportunity to get a win. He said, Derek is just so smooth. He's a Hall of Famer. He said, but I guess those numbers, I guess they'll think about it and it would be great. But then I asked him the pink elephant in the room question. The 2-0. High drive, deep right. There it goes. See ya. A long home run for Luke Scott. And now the Yankees lead 6-3. It's his 10th home run of the year.
Now, we had mentioned that Luke Scott has been as hot as any Oriole hitter. He's now hitting 16 in his last 20 games. After getting off to a slow start this year, he's come on. That pitch is a center. And the way Luke Scott's been swinging, he's not going to miss it. That was a towering, majestic home run into the second deck.
That'll bring up Garrett Atkins. So a long home run for Scott. It's just a 6-3 lead now. Anyway, to finish up on Andy, I said to him, I said, the fact that you've admitted using HGH, do you believe that that's going to hurt? Now, how many players would be this honest? He goes, absolutely it's going to hurt. He said, if people believe what I said, then they might consider me. But if they don't believe and they think I use more and that I used it for other reasons other than injuries, then it's absolutely a no. He said they won't even consider me. He said, but that is definitely going to be a consideration, and it could keep me out of the Hall, and it's everybody's personal opinion. I understand that. I did what I did for those 2 years, and I did it to get back on the field because of injuries, and if people don't believe it, then that's their prerogative, and they won't vote for me.
I think there not only is Andy Pettitte in that boat, but certainly many other players from the steroid era are in that boat. And it's just going to come down to a lot of writers' personal preferences, whether they feel that should stain people's chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. And, we're getting to that point now where players who were during that era are getting to a point of being out of baseball for 5 years.
Well, we've seen Mark McGwire's not getting the necessary votes.
No, he's not.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of referendums on this, Kenny, when Roger Clemens becomes, nothing's ever been proven with Roger, but the allegations are certainly out there. Alex Rodriguez, who's actually admitted to using it the 3 years in Texas, that's going to be a discussion as well. But Andy was very forthright. He goes, absolutely, it's a factor, and I understand it. The 3-1. How about this stat, though, Kenny? No pitcher 100 games over 500 has ever not made the Hall of Fame.
And that's why I think former Yankee Mike Messina is going to get in to go along with his other numbers. But one thing that Pettitte has that Messina doesn't have:
5 World Series.
5 World Series, and his tremendous performances in postseason.
The 3-2. Outside, so CeCe has kind of lost it. He gives up the single by Wigginton, which was a seeing eye single, then the long home run, now a walk. And this game, and Dave Island's going to come out. This game, Kenny, had the feel that the Yankees are up 15-0. But that home run by Scott makes it a very doable game for the Orioles. The Yankees are up just 6-3, and it's the 7th inning, and that's CeCe's first walk of the game. So Island trying to settle down Sabathia. Now, it's a hot day. Sabathia's only had 89 pitches, but Kenny and I both on the field before the game. It was really sticky. It was hot. It was humid. And you wonder, Kenny, is 89 like 110 on a normal day? I'm not sure. Does that take something out of a pitcher?
It could, but, CeCe's pitch, I'm sure he's pitched on hotter days. And it's a chance to see if he can reach back for a little extra. There's 2 fans in one seat.
So here's Adam Jones. Pitch outside. He showed bunt but pulled back. Driven the other way. Through his first 12 starts last year, CC had allowed 6 home runs. This is his 12th start this year, and he's allowed 12 home runs. So double the amount. And last year, at the beginning of the year, balls were flying out of Yankee Stadium, and he was still able to keep them in. The 1-1. There's that changeup, 1-2.
I've mentioned this many times before, but the changeup is like an equalizer for a pitcher. If you're a young pitcher, learn that changeup. It can be so effective. There's a big difference between 2 balls and a strike and 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hitters are much more defensive. Now you've created confusion in the mind of a hitter by using your changeup, your off-speed pitch.
Swing and a miss. Got him. Another changeup. Let's take a look at that pitch by pitch brought to you by Suzuki Kizashi.
Well, Adam Jones had a good afternoon and had a home run. That first pitch fastball outside. Fastball evens the count. Here's where the changeup comes into play. One and another one, and he's gone. Yeah, one of the feeling about Adam Jones, he will chase. He's not a hitter who's comfortable with 2 strikes. He does not walk very often, so he is up there slashing away, and CC uses his aggressiveness against him.
Tatum grounds one to short. Jeter's going to go the short way, and that'll do it. Well, the Orioles trying to get back in this. 2 runs on 2 hits. The big home run by Luke Scott. No errors and 1 man left at the end of 6.5 innings of play. Time for the 7th inning stretcher at the stadium. Yankees lead 6-3, but we'll stay right here to honor America in the Bronx.
We remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now, Kingsman's rendition of God Bless America.
To the ocean
pregame show on the Verizon Wireless scoreboard. Yankees leading 6-3 as Luke Scott's 2-run home run made it a little bit closer as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Posada, Granderson, and Cervelli against Jason Birkin. The pitch is outside 1-0. Posada struck out twice, but also singled to right field in the 3rd. Has a 7-game hitting streak that started before his DL stint. Count 2-0. Java Chamberlain begins the throw. And if he's throwing, that means he's going to be pitching the 8th inning. They don't get him up for nothing. The 2-0.
Not like playing catch in the park, right?
No. If they're going to start the car, they're driving the car.
It just gave me a thought. And, with Ken Griffey Jr. retiring yesterday, you always talk about who taught you how to play ball the first time. Usually it's your dad or granddad, maybe your older brother. But how many kids get to bond with their dad on a ball field like he did, hitting back-to-back home runs? That's probably never, ever happen again.
They were both with Seattle then, and it was a very special moment. Hi, Papa. Luke Scott for the first out. Boxing, as you know, is returning to Yankee Stadium. Come out to the stadium this Saturday, June 5th, for the Stadium Slugfest when the undefeated WBA Super Welterweight Champion Yuri Foreman defends his title against 3-time world champion Miguel Cotto. You can get your tickets today at Yankees.com/boxing to see the history of boxing continue at Yankee Stadium.
Granderson has hit the ball hard 3 times today. The first time up, Millwood knocked the ball down. Looked like it was headed into center field for a hit.
The 1-0. Driven out into left center field, giving chase Adam Jones. He's on the run, he's on the track, and he makes the play. He is a Gold Glove winner out there, and he's shown some of that this series.
He's ranged far and wide to the gaps in left center and right center. In this particular instance, left center, a good check to see where he is, and reaches out right at the very end and hauls it in deep left center field. That's the 4th time Granderson's hit the ball pretty well today.
You know what my favorite part of that catch was? Blowing the bubble.
Yeah. They've got a promotion. The Orioles have a promotion about him blowing bubbles.
Look at that.
Playing center field.
What kind of promotion?
Well, they say that he's Gold Glove fielder, and he can blow bubbles. He can hit, and he can blow bubbles. And they show, a highlight of just like that one, of him blowing bubbles.
Too bad there's no more Lawrence Welk show.
Or Seinfeld, the Bubble Boy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That the Lawrence Welk reference just went over the head of about 60% of our audience.
I didn't even watch that show, and I remember he was the Bubble Machine.
Yeah. Although they do have a skit now on Saturday Night Live where they have Lawrence Welk. Yeah. So maybe that'll bring it to a new era.
There you go.
A new generation.
Which one of the Lennon sisters did you like?
Jack. Ground ball is short. And a 1-2-3 inning for Jason Birkin as the Yankees go down in order. We go to the 8th. Yankees lead the Orioles 6-3. Full season and partial season ticket plans in great locations are now available. Many plans also include postseason ticket options and great seats at games against the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Phillies. Plus, Old Timers Day. For more information, visit Yankees.com, or you can call 718-293-6000, or you can email seasontickets@Yankees.com. Well, today and throughout the Yankees season on Yes, we are asking you to vote along with us for the Chevy Player of the Game. You can text your vote to 58772 or vote online at YesNetwork.com. And today's candidates are number 1, CC Sabathia, number 2, Alex Rodriguez, number 3, Robinson Cano, and number 4, Brett Gardner. You can vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. And now they turn it over to Java Chamberlain. So CC Sabathia struck out 7 in 7 innings, his most strikeouts since fanning 9 against Texas on April 16th. And there's Java's numbers.
Good outing in the opening game of the series. He worked a scoreless 8th inning. 1-2-3 against the Orioles. A couple of flyouts to the ground out. Only threw 8 pitches in the Yankees' 3-1 win on the first of the month.
Is Torres ran the hands up the bunt and takes a strike. 2 ground balls to second for Cesar Torres. And the 0-1. 1-1. And the 1-1. 2-1. Will Oman and David Hernandez warming for the Orioles. Two-1. Hit sharply to short. Tough hop, but Jeter gets it. 1 away.
Keeping the glove down low. That ball was hit fairly hard by Cesar Torres. And watch how you keep the glove down there. The ball came up on that last time. Made it look easy. This is a harder play than it looked. The sure hands of a 4-time Gold Glove winner.
And the pitch to Lugo is low, 1-0. Driven out into right field. Coming on Swisher. He makes the play. Lugo hit it hard, but it stayed up too long.
A lot of playing the outfield is being in the right place to begin with. Scouting reports. The coaches from the benches moving the defenders around in the outfield. Nick Swisher had just come on straight ahead to make the catch, and that's out number 2. Smile about it.
And there's a strike to Miguel Tejada. Tejada's 0 for 3 today. Grounded to third, struck out, and had a fly ball to right.
Right out there above the eye.
Marte warming in the Yankee bullpen. If Tejada gets on, they might bring in Marte to get Markakis. The 0-2. Slider in the dirt, 1-2.
Yeah, 2 of the next 3 hitters would be left-handed.
With Wigginton between them. Markakis, Wigginton, and Scott.
Well, you'd figure if he could get Markakis, Scott's not going to see Marte either. He'd probably see Mariano.
The 1-2. Grounded softly to third. And Chamberlain comes on and works a 1-2-3 eighth inning. So the Orioles go down in order, and we go to the bottom of the eighth inning. Yankees are leading this one 6-3, and you are watching Yes. With the Tri-State 4 pregame. Then Bob Lorenz and John Flaherty bring you all the action. Yankees Blue Jays tomorrow at 6:30, only on Yes. Now, speaking of tomorrow, let's take a look at the starting pitchers in that game, brought to you by Fios TV, Internet, and Phone. This is Beyond Cable. This is Fios. A.J. Burnett goes against his former team, 6-2, 3.28 for A.J. And Brett Cecil, good ERA, 5-2 for the Toronto Blue Jays. Our coverage begins at 6:30 with the pregame, right around 7:07, 7:08 with the first pitch from Rogers Center. New pitcher for the Orioles is the left-hander Will Omen, and he will face Brett Gardner.
Will Omen has probably been the most effective pitcher out of the Oriole bullpen this year. As you can see, with his ERA, his strikeouts, his walks, the total number of hits, he was finally scored upon and had an ERA his last time out. That was in Toronto. He gave up back-to-back home runs. The only 2 runs he's given up all year. Jose Bautista, who last I looked was leading the league in homers, and Alex Gonzalez, who's having a good home run year. Those are the 2 guys who took him out back-to-back at Rogers Center.
Popped up and out of play over the Oriole dugout. Gardner wants to see if he broke his bat.
Yeah, Bautista coming in today is tied with Paul Konerko of the White Sox. They each have 16 home runs.
The 0-2 hit sharply and past Lugo into right center field. Gardner makes a big turn, and he'll stop there with a single.
A nice comeback afternoon for Brett Gardner. He started out the day 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly to left field, and now a home run and a single, a solid single at that by Lugo, and he is now 2 for 4 on the afternoon. That's a nice comeback.
And that's his 17th multi-hit game so far this year. In the Yankees' 54th game. Gardner really, really distracts the pitcher. We told you Alex's dominance against the Orioles over the years. Well, Derek has 282 hits and 177 runs scored against the Orioles. And that leads all major leaguers in those categories against the O's.
A lot of that good hitting by both of them has to do with Camden Yards, a ballpark where you just heard the term hitterish. You feel hitterish when you get there.
You kind of feel sweaterish too. Not wearing a sweater, sweating.
You wouldn't have said that during the winter.
A lot of snow.
Oh, unbelievable. The most ever.
I bet you it was humid snow too.
Took me 2 days to get off the block, off our street. "45 inches of snow in 72 hours.
I don't know how you got from your door to the edge of your estate. That must have taken a day. Because I've been there, and it's an estate.
Nah, I wouldn't describe it that way.
Maybe it's in a city. The 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. So Jeter down on strikes.
Ullman with a nice sharp slider. He's got some weapons, and like I said, he's probably been the Orioles' best reliever. And only lately has Dave Tremblay kind of moved him towards the end of the game. That was like off-speed breaking ball, and Jeter's out in front, can't check the swing, and has struck out. There is no closer on this team. Nobody who has that role. They've had several injuries to the closer role, starting with Mike Gonzalez, who they signed as a free agent. And after blowing a few saves, his arm started hurting, and he's down in rehab and down in Florida. Alfredo Simon was used as a closer for a while. He's got a hamstring. He's on the disabled list.
Here's Swisher. He checks the swing. Now Kenny, you live around the area.
Yeah.
Are they angry, the fans, or are they just apathetic now? Have they given up?
There's a little bit of both.
I mean, 13 straight years of losing.
Yeah, in other words, when you're apathetic, that means you've lost some fans.
Right.
They've lost some. Attendance has been going down, which you really don't see when the Yankees come to town. I guess you see the ballpark kind of full.
Well, you do notice a difference because in past years, the Yankees would go there would be jammed.
Yeah.
And now, it's crowded, but it's not jammed.
No.
Didn't they have a game this year with 9,000 people?
I think the smallest crowd ever.
It was against Tampa Bay in April. It was a Tuesday night.
A good team and a division rival.
Runner goes. Throw to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Gardner.
Gardner really did bide his time, and he picked the right pitch to go on. It was a tough pitch for Tatum to handle. Gardner, stolen base number 19. So tries to hold on to the bag, but lets his foot maintain contact.
and a walk. You can see Gardner is wearing new gloves, and he had hurt his finger sliding into second base, so new glove, pretty sharp with it.
Yeah, one of the things about being a base stealer, and particularly if you're going in hands first or feet first, is the fear of the bag. And that's why I give Ricky Henderson a lot of credit, because you're going in there as fast as you can. You got to put the brakes on. And you take a beating being a base stealer. Just stealing all that sliding. Sometimes you get hit with the ball. Fielders like to jam that tag down on you. That's something I never really knew that much about.
He just jogged around the bases. And we've been talking about this a lot since the end of yesterday's game with Armando Galarraga losing out on a perfect game because of the blown call. Well, you know what? He got rewarded in some way. Beginning of the game, Chevrolet, which has a big ad out in Comerica Park, they presented him the keys with a brand new 2010 Corvette as a congratulation for the near perfect game. He might become more famous than if he pitched a perfect game.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what would he get if would he have gotten if he pitched it?
A hearty handshake. And it's also being reported, Kenny, just as we both surmise, that he has an announcement sealing, has no intention of changing the game and changing the call. The 2-0. Hit sharply. Oh, what a play by Tejada. From his back, he gets the force at second. That is some play by Miguel Tejada for the second out.
Well, a new position at the beginning of the year, and they were wondering if he would learn how to play it. Sometimes it takes a while to get adjusted. But this is a highlight play by Miguel Tejada. Ball looked like it was destined for the left field corner. The headlong dive comes up with it, and from his rear makes the accurate throw to second for the force on Swisher. This is a highlight play. Teixeira has hit the ball hard the last 2 days. Now, I know he's got 2 hits today, but that could have been a third one very easily.
And a couple of hits yesterday were taken away, hard line drives. Pitch inside to Alex Rodriguez. One-0 to Alex. Popped up. Atkins called off by Lugo. Lugo makes the play, so a scoreless inning for Omen. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left. Last licks coming up for the O's. VSiN post-game show. Get highlights and analysis of this finale against the Orioles. Plus, Kimberly Jones gets the quotes from the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. Mariano Rivera enters to the strains of Enter Sandman. And Mo's last 4 appearances, 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And he has 11 saves with a 1.56 ERA, 9 hits and 17 in the 3rd innings, 13 strikeouts. So he will face the heart of the order for the Orioles. It'll be Nick Markakis, Ty Wigginton, and Luke Scott. A strikeout of Markakis in the first, ground ball to second, ground ball to first, hitting an even 300.
62 career saves against the Baltimore Orioles. They're #1 on his saves list.
And a strike. And the count 1-1. And the count 2-1. The only difference that you can see in Mo this year is that his control is not as pinpoint sharp as it's been in the past. It seems like it's getting better. And that one is dribbled up the 3rd baseline, and it's a foul ball. So they better grab it before it goes fair. That's grab.
You mean falling behind on counts?
Just seems to be missing when he wouldn't miss. You know, like 2-1 counts you would never see from him. And you know, when he went through that rough stretch about a week and a half ago, he was all over the place. I mean, walking Jim Thome with the bases loaded, that's not Mo. And then he gave up the grand slam to Kubel.
Expect him to come in and just bring down the curtain.
Missed outside.
That was supposed to be the put-away pitch. It was set up by the pitch before that was in. And it was outside.
And he walked him. And that's just something that never happened with Mo. So one more base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate. Pitch inside, count 1-0. Wigginton has never had a hit against Mariano, 0 for 6. Now, the walk that Mo just issued, it's his 5th walk of the year. He had 12 walks all of last year, and in 2008, he had 6 walks. And it's not even the walks, Kenny. It's the fact that he's missing spots even in the zone. So he might be throwing strikes, but they're not cutting in right at the corner. Like that.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the side muscle he had problems with earlier in the year.
He sat for 12 days. I'm sure that had something to do with it. Not as sharp. The 2-1. And he hits Wigginton. And that's the lack of command or pinpoint command that we were talking about. So that brings in Luke Scott, a power hitter, as the tying run, and Dave Island quickly out to the mound.
Now this kind of opened up the door, the walk, and now the hit by pitch. You can see Wigginton trying to check his swing on a pitch that's inside, and the back elbow is going to take the brunt of that pitch, and he's headed down to first base.
So Luke Scott has one hit in 11 at-bats against Rivera, and he had a home run his last time up, a 2-run shot against Sabathia. He is the tying run. Yankees lead 6-3. First and second, nobody out. Low 1-0. And the pitch. Just got under that one. Popped up. Teixeira gives it a look, but it's in the seats.
Now take a look at the 7th inning with a man aboard, Luke Scott, now in double figures in home runs. Middle of the plate from CC Sabathia, and a towering fly ball to right field for his 10th home run of the season. Scott led the Orioles in home runs last year with 25. And that was a career high.
And the 1-1. Inside 2-1.
Let's see how close he comes to the target. That doesn't miss by all that much, but it is a ball.
Yankees looking for a sweep of the O's. And the count 2-2. Well, what's left of a crowd of 44,927 trying to spur on Rivera to a strikeout. And the 2-2. Still 2-2. Rivera's velocity is good at 93. And that's as hard as he's thrown all season. He's usually been living at 90, 91. Luke Scott has heated up in the last 20 games since May 8th. 379. Started off slowly. Now hitting 273. The 2-2. And the count is full at 3-2. Garrett Atkins is on deck. And the 3-2. He struck him out. Cutter coming right in on the hands. 94 miles an hour. That's the fastest pitch he's thrown all year.
Well, when he needed to get a pitch, he got it, and it might have been ball 4. Luke Scott trying to be quick. He knows that cutter's coming in, and it might have cut actually off the plate, swinging over the top of it, and it struck out.
Here is Garrett Atkins. Now he's letting Atkins, the right-hander, hit. He has a lefty, Corey Patterson, on the bench if he'd like to go to him. But a lot of managers think it's better to have a righty against Mo. And he has never faced Mariano. Count 1-1. Atkins might be one of the bigger disappointments for the Orioles in a really disappointing year. They thought that they were getting a decent player that was really going to hit well at Camden Yards, and carries a .211 average into this at bat. shattered bat. And a ground ball to Teixeira. Went the other way. It kind of curved on him. He stayed with it for the second out as the runners move up.
Oh, a lot of English on that ball as it spun its direction towards first base, and it looked like a changeup. Teixeira was ready to step on the bag, but the ball wasn't there yet. Bat shatters, and Teixeira stays with it for out number 2.
So now it comes down to Adam Jones. He certainly has the power to tie the game, but he has not been getting around on fastballs in this series, especially up in the zone. Had a home run against Sabathia, reached on an E1 and struck out. A strike on the inside corner. He has 1 hit and 6 at bats against Rivera. The 0-1. And the Yankees are a strike away from a sweep.
Well, the book on Jones is to get ahead on the count, get 2 strikes on him, and then throw a breaking ball out of the strike zone, and he might chase it. So you might look for a cutter down and away.
The 0-2. 95 miles an hour. Is he turning back the clock here today? He hasn't thrown 95 in years.
It's one of those hot days. You get loose.
And the pitch. Missed inside. Markakis at third, Wigginton at second, 2 men out. Top of the 9th inning, Yankees lead 6-3. The 2-2. Swung on and missed. The Yankees win. In the 9th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left. And the Yankees had themselves quite a homestand, Kenny. They won 6 out of 7 games. And they head on to Toronto for a 3-game set against the Blue Jays.
And that includes the 3-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles. As the final score today, 6-3. Joe Girardi and the ball club will head out on the road with some momentum.
Well, let's take a look at that last pitch against Adam Jones.
Mo eyeing the target. There's the setup on the cutter. 95 miles an hour. Too much for Adam Jones. A swing and a miss, strike 3, and the captain, along with the rest of his teammates, can celebrate another Yankee victory.
And you got to stick around for the postgame show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. So Mariano walks off the field with his former battery mate, now present-day manager Joe Girardi. And there's Kim Jones with Alex Rodriguez. Kim?
Yes, Michael, thank you. It is hot down here. Alex, I want to ask you about this homestand, winning 6 of 7, outscoring the opponents 55-25. What do you like from this offense right now?
Well, I think 1 through 9, we all battled. We didn't give any at-bats away. We had a lot of intensity, and we swung at strikes.
And you had a great homestand, including a home run today. Today is your first full day, Alex, as the active home run leader in the majors with Ken Griffey Jr.'s retirement. How's that feel?
Well, I don't know if I'm happy or sad about that. I know that Junior was a great player, a great teammate, and today is definitely a day that's I'm a little sad about that.
How about your bat on this homestand? 10 hits, 11 RBIs. That kind of production over 7 games. You'll take that any week of the year, right?
I mean, there's no question. I mean, the 11 RBIs are all the guys in front of me doing a phenomenal job and getting on base. And Guardy's been great in the 9th slot as well. So, things are good. We got to keep them going.
We'll let you get into the AC. Thank you, Alex. Michael, back to you.
All right, thank you to Alex and thank you to Kimberly. So Mariano Rivera nails down his 12th save. The Yankees a high water mark, 14 games over 500. We'll be back with awards in the postgame.